You're listening to the Night Demon Network. Go to nightdemon.net/subscriber to unlock more exclusive content.
Hello, and welcome to the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast. I'm your host, Nesbit. 10 years ago, in 2015, Night Demon released their first full-length album, Curse of the Damned. And the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast is celebrating this anniversary with a deep dive into this Night Demon album. Before we do, I wanted to bring Jarvis Leatherby on. He has some huge news for Night Demon fans, all related to this 10th anniversary. I'm not going to tell you any more here now. I'll let Jarvis break the news to you guys. Curse at 10 years. Okay, I'm here with Jarvis Leatherby. So, Jarvis, 10 years ago, Night Demon's first full-length album, Curse of the Damned, came out. So, you have something big planned for the 10th anniversary of the Curse of the Damned album. Does it seem like 10 years ago that album came out?
It's weird. It's sometimes it feels like 20 years ago. Sometimes it feels like 5 years ago. But if I look back... looking back on it, you know, the process of this started. I was talking to Dusty today, and our former drummer, and he said, "Wow, it's crazy. 12 years ago," he said, "we started, you know, kind of tracking for that." So the songs were written longer than 12 years ago. It's making me feel old, but it's good. It's good to celebrate all this, you know. So.
Yeah, it's cool how fast it goes. Because, I mean, we've been doing this podcast for 5 years now, which is crazy. It seems
nuts.
Like 2 sometimes.
It's 5 years and every week, right? Every Friday consecutively for 5 years.
Exactly. We've never missed a Friday. Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing, you know. But yeah, it's cool to be able to come into this, you know, over 250 episodes in, and we haven't touched on Curse of the Damned really as much. We've done a few song episodes.
Not really, yeah.
Yeah, but this is a kind of a big deal, you know, and I mean, there's so much to talk about with this, but yes, we have a box set coming out that is announced today, Friday the 13th. Of course, we picked June 13th. We have a box set. We have a box set that we've announced today that'll be out September 5th, and we have an action figure that is the character Eugene that is on the cover of Curse of the Damned. We've got some anniversary shows announced for this around the world. We've got a whole line of merch, like new merch for this. So it's cool. It's definitely the year to celebrate Curse of the Damned. And like, we're super stoked that we can do this between album cycles, right? But it's kind of funny, Friday the 13th, it just happened to land on this date just because of the timing of everything. And I remember when the first time, I can't remember who it was. One of our friends saw this album cover. They said, "Cool, it's kind of like Friday the 13th." I think it's probably due to the blue outline around the figure, right? It's kind of like the cover of the first Friday the 13th film,
right?
So, great, So it's all synchronicity at work, right? Yeah.
Seeing pictures of this action figure is very, very cool. I think they're going to be in super high demand.
Yeah, let's get
into it. And I've also
it.
seen pictures of this Ultimate Edition of this box set, and I previewed some of the content that you showed me, and there's a ton of stuff in this box set, like a ton. And it's all cool stuff. It's none of that like filler stuff that people do to pad out box sets sometimes. It's all killer, no pun intended.
Well, we wanted
killer stuff.
Thank you. Well, we wanted to, like, again, I think it's always the model with the band where it's like, let's put something into the world that we want to see. You know, and that doesn't always equate to the best business decisions sometimes. I will say this is the most financially we've ever invested into anything in the band. Anything ever is this anniversary here. So it's kind of, I'll just say, as exciting as it is, it's equally as frightening, right? But but you can't look at it like that. I mean, and so I'm going to be very transparent about this. Basically, okay, let's start at this. It's Curse of the Damned Ultimate Edition. That is the official title of it. Originally, for the 10th anniversary, we wanted to do something like this, but we didn't really want to date it to the 10th anniversary in a sense of like, we're going to be doing this again in 15 years and 20 years. You know, we may celebrate the album on anniversaries again. I can see that. But as far as the content of a box set, we wanted it to be like a definitive edition where we didn't really leave too many stones unturned that we can throw in later for this, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, so, it looks like you scoured the archives.
yeah. And so we'll get to
come up with all this content.
We'll get to the features of this box set for sure. But before we do that, you know, with that said, I'm not complaining to anybody about this, but these are limited to 1,000 hand numbered copies. We've pulled out all the stops. We've taken full page ads in all the major magazines around the world, which was a heavy investment on us, not to mention just the production of this box set, of the action figure, of everything that's in the box set. But also distribution. You know, we've opened up the distribution channels with The Orchard, which is a major distributor who is going to be distributing this throughout the world into real record stores. You know, there's a lot of work that we're doing to get it into independent retailers as well. So in my transparency, I will say that, you know, when we started as a band, you know, with our first record, we had signed our first major record deals. So SPV Steamhammer they own the rights to the album in Europe and the UK. And for the rest of the world, it was owned by Century Media. Still is. At the time, we had like kind of an advantage of having two labels, right? Like they would almost compete against each other at first to kind of outdo each other. And that's what you want, because you have two separate teams at really well-known labels working for you. So that did help us out a lot. But as things have evolved and as both of these labels have been bought out by major companies, a lot has changed. And we've weathered that storm. There's still a lot of good people at those labels, but basically neither of them have an interest in releasing a box set of Curse of the Damned. And they're not really interested in reissues. I mean, SPV reissued the album last year, the deluxe edition, which was great, but that's pretty much already out of print. And, you know, we've tried to keep all of our records in print physically, and we've been able to do so. But when it comes to rights and contracts, things get extremely complicated. They get overly complicated. They get more complicated than they need to be. And this is what happens with all your favorite artists growing up. You know, you hear about these stories with these business dealings and these contracts and stuff with record companies, and you think it's never going to happen to you until it finally does, you know? And you think, who's going to fuck with Night Demon? Like, who cares? You know, we're not Tom Petty. We're not Bruce Springsteen, right? But as the more and more these larger corporations absorb these small companies, see, small business does well, then larger companies say, I want that, because they're doing it better than us. They buy them out for a bunch of money, keep them on as staff, and just say, run it how you've been doing it. And then they want to make changes after a year or two, and everything falls apart. And it's been happening this way. So look, I'm not trying to throw sand in the face of the labels that we were signed to and still have major business dealings with. But I will say, I'm talking to our fans here, and I will say that the power that labels once yielded is going away more and more each and every day. The whole business model has changed. It used to be that a label would put a band on tour and the touring was the promotion to sell the albums. Now it's opposite. Now it's like the album is a cheap commodity promotional tool for touring, and labels don't have any influence.
Right.
Labels have no influence in touring. They just don't. So we are where we are. Anyway, we're putting out the box set. We've financed everything. I'm not crying, but this is the true test. They say, you need 1,000 true fans to make it. And we're calling on the 1,000 true fans now. And I know it's going to be there. It's going to be awesome. And we've had this thing. We put this thing at the lowest price point we possibly could. And it's very reasonable. It's not cheap, but compared to some of the box sets I've seen coming out lately, it's less than half the price. So we put a lot of love and a lot of care into this, and we are super stoked about this. We're just so happy that this exists, and for a band that's on our level to do something like this, I think it's a pretty bold statement. And the legacy of Curse of the Damned is cemented in this damn thing. And I'm so excited to get into this next series of podcast episodes that we're going to be doing to commemorate this album. And this summer is just kicking off like Curse of the Damned summer. So
it's the summer of the Curse of the Damned.
Yeah. Cursed summer. Let me not say that. Let me not start by saying that. That's not what I want, right? But okay, you want to get into the content, or do you want to take this?
Yeah, well, I saw pictures of the ads that you're going to be putting out, and like when you see all of the content laid out, it's kind of mind blowing. Like there's so much in here, it's crazy. Because me, I'm a vinyl nerd, and you've seen my vinyl collection. I'm a sucker for like a box set.
Absolutely.
But I can honestly say that I've never seen a box set that has like this much cool shit in it. Like this is really cool. So like if you want to get into it, we'll go people strap in, because it's going to be a long list of going through all this. So much stuff in here.
Yeah, let's do it. I mean,
yeah.
Well, first off, I'll say, I agree. I'm a big fan of the box set, always have been. Let's start really quickly by what we left out of this box set, because I think that's important. So okay. I just for people's expectations here, because I like to talk about you got to know what you don't want to know what you want, I think. And this box set has taken a lot of back and forth, a lot of what we thought it was going to be and what it did end up being. We didn't really take finances into account of what ended up being here, except for the fact that we were able to make more things by cutting down on less on certain things, which we'll get into. But what we didn't do is add a bunch of items that we thought were extremely inauthentic. So I have a collection of backstage passes because I've been on tours and I've been guests at shows. Yeah. I didn't want to add a backstage pass in here that wasn't used. And like guitar picks, that's a normal thing. I kind of wanted to make sure that every item in here had some kind of tangible value to it. And, with that said, any items that are just kind of candy or color, we didn't really add in here. And we tried our hardest not to add items that you would want to take out and use, because that's the thing. It makes the box set incomplete once you do that. The first Misfits box set that came out, that Coffin, I bought when it came out.
Oh, yeah.
And like,
Yep.
I put the pin on my jacket and I have no idea where it is now. But like that makes that incomplete. And for a collector,
Yep.
like because they started making, after the first pressing, the pins were different. Like that first pressing is highly sought after. I would never want to sell it, but just knowing that, it feels kind of like, oh, you know, right? So there are a couple items in here, like posters that you might want to put on the wall, but you don't have to, you know, and they're all there. It's not, there's nothing here like a keychain that you're going to want to put on your keys, things like that. So we tried to get the most music content that we could in there, basically, versus a bunch of ancillary items that were made in a factory overseas or in some other remote country that Night Demons never played, that don't authenticate what it actually is. Does that make sense?
What I look for in a box set is it's the music and the like that. Well, the music is the art that the whole box set's built around. So I want to maximize that. It's easy to throw a whole bunch of like kind of gimmicky things in to, you know, just to kind of make it look like more stuff. But this is, I feel like you did a good job focusing on the music and things that surround the music and things that are like tangential to the music. And it's not just, you know, you didn't slap the
I appreciate that
art on a bunch of stuff and just throw, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the one last thing I'll say about what we left out, I really like when box sets have books and that have a story. Yep. We do not have this in here. We do not have a book. But what we do have is this podcast, which is straight from everyone's mouths, right? And I think that this is, if there's ever going to be a Curse of the Damned book, which there might be, I would hope that it would just be written by somebody outside of the band and would tell the story from their eyes and based on references or whatever, right? And I would hope that it would be a standalone book, right? So we didn't add a book in here, but you know, this podcast, all these episodes are going to guide you through this. And for whatever reason, in case the internet disappears one day, which, you know, like can very much, I mean, who knows, man? It can happen. It's all just digital information out there, right? Yeah. And we're tangible. We're fans of the physical media. So, we do have a download card here. Well, I guess this is kind of an oxymoron. Yet to download the podcast episodes. If the podcast episodes disappear from streaming or whatever, you can download them and have them on your own hard drive once you pick up this box set. And the cool thing is, Nesbitt, that I just realized is these people are going to have podcast episodes downloaded before they've even aired, because these podcast episodes are going to go till after this thing comes out. So, right? So we've got our work cut out for us too there. But that's cool, right? So if you buy the box set, if you pre-order it and you buy it ahead of time or you get it on release day, you'll be able to download future podcast episodes of Curse of the Damned. So, and I just want to throw out real quick, for the people that already know the features and won't make it through this episode, simple website, cursedam.com is the website you can go to. Cursedam.com. And there's a link tree there that will guide you to it's all just Curse of the Damned world. And it will take you anywhere you need to go on the web to source this stuff and find out about what's happening with this anniversary.
Cool. Yeah, it's I'm kind of hyped to get into like all this in the podcast because, you know, I only found out about your band during The Darkness Remains was the current album. Right. You know what I mean? So this is kind of like going back to before where, I mean, I've heard the album obviously tons, but we haven't really dug into it. So it's a lot of new information for me, which is kind of cool.
Absolutely.
Because I do love this album.
Thank you. And putting the box set together, a lot has come back to me. It has really helped me a lot of stories, you know? So let's get into the content.
Sure. So the meat of it is it's a 3 LP 3 CD set.
Well, let's just start with the box. Let's just start with the box. I asked your opinion on this, Nesbitt. I don't know if you remember, but I said, what kind of box sets do you like? Like what size and format? And you basically said, look, if it's the size of an LP and fits on an LP shelf, great. And I agree, because we're going to be doing a box set like this for each of the releases. It's going to happen. And this just happens to be the first one. So we want to keep consistency. And when I sent this record to be pressed, I talked to my broker, who's a good friend of mine, lifelong friend. And I just said, look, we need to go to pressing plants, whoever's making all of this stuff, because it's not all made in one place. There's a lot of different elements here. We need to make sure that these people are like reputable, have been in business for a long time, and are going to be here for the rest of these projects, so we can keep some kind of continuity here, right? And so we made sure to do that. So the actual box itself, it is just slightly larger than an LP, fits on an LP shelf, has an awesome label on the side. It's not going to be some weird thing that looks odd in your collection or stands out.
Remember the live binge and purge?
Oh, dude, I still have that. I love
I do too.
That.
I have the VHS one. I was like, where do you do with it? Right, you stick it on its shelf by itself.
I do too.
I have a bunch of albums like live,
really,
or not live. A bunch of vinyl box sets that are about an inch too tall and they won't fit on a vinyl shelf. I have these like Tom Petty ones,
right? And
like they just don't fit anywhere, so they're just kind of like on the floor next to my vinyl.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, the idea for this
it's a small thing, but it's something that annoys me.
The ideas for this is like the LPs are the bed, and they fit in snugly there, right? And then everything lays on top of that. But the actual box itself, one thing about the binge and purge boxes, I was bummed for years, dude. I bought that on release day in the 90s. And I one of the corners on mine, so for anybody who isn't familiar, Metallica Binge and Purge box set came out, I think in like 94, 95, something like that. 94. Or maybe 93. Who cares?
I can't remember.
It's basically a road case. It's a cardboard road case, and it looks cool as shit. But mine, one of the corners had ripped for some reason, and I took really good care of mine. So mine always sunk down. Now, to this day, I've seen them throughout the years. For the last 30 years, hard to say that, right? 30 years. I have not seen a single one that doesn't have that problem. So, the box construction I don't know how yours is. If yours,
do you have the VHS? You must have the VHS.
I have the VHS. It has 3 VHS, 3 CDs, the tour book, the stencil, the backstage pass.
Oh, I forgot about the stencil. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I got the backstage pass here right next to me. I'll show you. That's one of the ones hanging here in my.
The Snake Pit pass.
But the Snake Pit one.
Right.
I have the VHS one too, and it's out in the shed somewhere.
See, we're fans. We're not criticizing. We're fans. I could spout that off 30 years later. What's in that box?
But no, I like that it's the shape and the size of vinyl.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the box itself, it's just the album cover on the front. The back of the box, printed on the back of the box, is everything that's in here and the entire track listing. I wanted to make that clear on the outside of the box, so anybody could just look at the outside and go, "Whoa, holy shit! Okay, that's what's in here," and a picture of what's inside there. That's printed on the back of the box. The sides of the box are cool, as I mentioned. The tops and bottoms have a little bit of Easter eggs too. Donnie Phillips, or Don Fury as he goes by, our cover artist who we've had on the podcast, who's done all of our album covers, he put some icons on there, like the axe, like Eugene's eyes, like really cool shit. The candle, the book, the knife. So there's a cool little thing there, and we do have some merch that we're going to use that for coming out this summer. So it's going to be gonna be really cool, and probably in the winter actually, because I think we're doing a hoodie. So we'll see. They don't really sell well during the summer months, but anyway, So that's the box itself. So you mentioned 3 LPs. We have the original master, which has not been on vinyl for quite some time. So for people that have an original copy that they want to keep pristine and they don't want to listen to, You have it here. You have the original master, the exact same files directly transferred to vinyl, and that's it. You can relive the memories again. The layout is exactly the same in there. We didn't update the layout. So it's funny, like as a thing, this is, we haven't done a thank you list on an album since this album, and it's for the reason that we always forget people. Right? It's like you hate to do a thank you list because you always forget somebody. But I look at this thank you list and like, I was talking to a friend the other day, another guy in another band for a long time, and we said like thank you lists are like old wedding photos. Like you look at them and you're like 90% of these people are like not even involved in our career anymore, or in our lives. Right. But there's some great memories looking back through it. But we wanted to keep it original, so it's the original layout. It's not a gatefold, but it has the original gatefold in there as an insert, as a 4-panel insert. So that's cool. Okay. And that is on a fucking super cool vinyl color. Here's another thing that we did. Most vinyl box sets use black vinyl because it's cheap and they're doing a lot of them, and people are trying to keep their costs low so, the label can make more money on it. Again, we wanted to over-deliver here with the quality, with the value that the person buying this gets. And so we've decided to go color vinyl on everything here. So it's a really cool... Do you know the title of this vinyl?
I read the colors, and that's something I was going to ask you is to describe them, because they sound pretty crazy and they sound pretty cool. But
I came up with some of the worst titles for this, and so I just kind of handed it over to Laura, who's always been good with she runs the social media pages. She is a co-lyricist for the band, and she's kind of. She's more of a wordsmith, I guess you could say, I'm not quite the Shakespeare all the time. Sometimes I get too deep into the project, right? That I kind of lose myself in it. But so I called this vinyl going off the colors. It's Scott,
is this the
Cerulean Nightmare. So,
right. Okay.
So hopefully the listeners have a dictionary nearby. Cerulean Nightmare vinyl is what the original LP is on. And what it is, it's a sky blue black marble, which looks really awesome, cool, and blends in with the colors. So that's LP.
Yeah,
so that's
the theme of the
right. So that's LP1 that has the original track listing on it. And now we get to LP2, which is something that I thought maybe would date this box set. And it was originally going to be the title of the box set, Curse of the Damned 10th Anniversary Remix. That's the name of this second disc. So it is a remixed album.
So this is a full remix, not like a remaster.
It's a full, no. It's a full remix. And a lot of people, I know that this is going to divide the audience, but Rick Rubin says it best. He says the best art divides the audience. But Rick Rubin also hates one thing, and it's remixing or re-recording of classic material. So I look to him for inspiration a lot. So he's half and half on stuff like this, right? So, and I am too, in a way. Sometimes I don't like I especially don't like re-recordings, but I love remixes. I love to hear original tracks reimagined. And this remix is not reimagined for the modern age. It's reimagined in the way of, this is more like of the way in our heads we wanted the album to sound. This is how it was supposed to have a meteor production to it. Right. And
so I have listened to these remixes, and it is a very different mix from the original.
Yeah.
And I think it's cool. Like, it's cool that you're including the original mix and the remix in the box set. So you got like the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I mean, you have both, Armand did that with Sarah Thungel's Frost and Fire on the 40th anniversary. And I think it's great to have both. One thing is that this is not intended for streaming. It will not be on any of the streaming platforms. except for a couple singles. Today, as we announced this, Full Speed Ahead is the single. So you will get to hear Full Speed Ahead on all the streaming platforms today, and there will be another one coming up as this gets released. But we want to make sure that it's exclusive to the box set, at least for the foreseeable future. That could change, but for now, we didn't want to do that. Another thing that I've seen is I buy very expensive box sets from bands that I love, and the day I get them, all the content is streaming on Spotify, and it's like, come on, as much as I'm into modern convenience and I'm into more of the video age now too, it's one of the pure things that I love about this podcast is like, it's an audio podcast. Like, it really, let your imagination go somewhere with this. And that's kind of what, with this box set, that's what I want. I want them to be able, for the people that purchase this, to be able to, to go and sit down for a night and go through the journey, right? Without having to open pop-ups and windows and try and look at something on their phone. Right. So
yeah, well, that's half the problem I hate about streaming music is it's streaming from your phone. Like, I don't know if I'd even mind it as much if it came from somewhere else, but like, people spend so much time on their phone, and then it's like you're also listening to music on your phone, and then you got your phone in your hand, and it's like, I don't know. I feel like whenever I stream stuff on Spotify, I'm not really paying attention to it the way it should be.
No, absolutely, and it's just so it's a convenient distraction, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah,
but. Anyway, so the 10th anniversary remix, it's the same track listing, but we've added Road Racing as a bonus track. And so Roger Camaro, the original engineer and mixer of Curse of the Damned, is the remixer on this. This is my favorite part about this. It's my favorite part. It was the guy who originally did the album who said, let's do it again the way that we wanted it to sound. He's improved a lot in the last decade, and he's got more tools now, and he wanted to take a crack at it, and I'm totally in love with it. And I actually told him, Roger, if you would have done this 10 years ago, we'd be having a whole different fucking conversation right now. This might have broken the band, Anyway, so that's the 10th anniversary remix. Donnie fucked with the cover.
What about
art.
the color?
Yeah,
the color
he fucked with it a little bit, and it's more of a gold. It's more of a gold instead of a red theme on the text on the cover, which I think looks really cool. And we have a sparkle, or it's not a sparkle. I'll take that back. It's a metallic gold vinyl, and that is named. See, this is bad when I can't even pronounce it. Aurelian vinyl. So I don't know. I gave Laura civil liberty on this, and it just sounded intellectual and a little bit mystical.
Aurelian?
A little bit mystical.
Aurelian, yeah.
Right. So
AU is gold, so I guess it has something to do with
it does.
Latin or something.
Yeah, right. So let's just go with it. So that's the remix. The third vinyl you get here. Okay, this is kind of
so the third vinyl. So to me, this is when I was talking about like bonus content and solid like content. This is exactly what I want in my box sets. This like LP number 3. This is like a prime example of exactly what I like to get in my box sets for like just cool shit. So go ahead and explain.
Okay, so this third LP is a full album titled Run for Your Life. This was the original sessions of Curse of the Damned. We're going to get into this a lot during this podcast season. Okay. Hey, we actually have seasons now. Isn't that cool? But they just don't stop. They just run into each other.
Yeah.
Originally, the album was recorded in the fall of 2013. And Dusty had just joined the band basically the day that he started tracking this. He did a great job on it. We recorded this version with Armand at the helm. So this was 3 years before he was in the band. And these sessions, I mean, look, we really wanted to go out there with our first effort after the EP and make a professional record. But it's heavily overproduced. We used a click track on all of the songs and doesn't have the energy and the life that we were looking for. And we had also not written Screams in the Night or Mastermind yet. So this was a 10-song album, the 10th song being Chalice 15, which is a very slow re-recording of the Chalice from the EP. Man, I don't have this pulled up right now, but I wonder if I should just read the back of the album. Should I do that?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. But I've heard these tracks, and it's drastically different. It's so cool
what's
to
your
hear that
opinion
these
on it,
original-
though? Like, would you say, like, is it? Do you hate it?
It's very interesting to listen to. I think that you made the right choice in re-recording the album live without the click track, because they seem like some of them there's 3 or 4 of them that seem like they drag a bit, just because you're so used to the pace, and especially if you listen to a live version and you go listen to these.
Right.
But the production is very different, and like it's super interesting to hear just how differently like produced it is. It's some of these songs are like night and day. It's super cool to hear.
Interesting. Okay, interesting. Yeah, it's cool to hear different. You know, some of the solos are different. The vocal melodies are slightly different. So it's like it's almost
I noticed
like
the Howling Man is very different.
It's the most professional demo I've ever been a part of. You know, I'll say that.
Yeah. Well, still, it sounds very polished. It just sounds very different.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely. Originally recorded in the fall of 2013 at Captain's Quarters, previously Satellite Studios in Ventura, California, Run for Your Life was the initial iteration of Night Demon's debut full-length album. As the band endeavored to create a worthy offering, they leaned into all the tricks of the studio. Click tracks, laborious production techniques, and countless hours spent in pursuit of excellence. This recording is the fruit of that labor. Soon afterwards, Night Demon embarked on their first European tour. Being on the road and in front of hungry heavy metal audiences helped to drive home a stark realization. Night Demon is a raw, unfiltered, heavy metal powerhouse which thrives on its true live sound. The overproduced clinical effort they had recorded simply did not represent the essence of the band. Reflecting on this and hot off the road, Night Demon went home to re-record the album, complete with 2 new songs, inside the span of 3 whirlwind days. This new recording became their debut album, Curse of the Damned. Please enjoy this peek behind the curtain of what could have been, yet thankfully was not, while listening to these original album sessions. So there it is, the Run for Your Life album. Totally different cover art done by our friend Ryan Bartlett. See, it's hard for me not to go too into. I could talk about this so much, and we will do this on.
Yeah, we're going to get into all of this in future episodes.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So that is the 3rd disc. So what you get is and by the way, the title of the vinyl of this is actually awesome. It totally matches the album cover too. Scarlet Maelstrom vinyl. It's a translucent red and black smoke. So we've got the 3 LPs. We also have each of these on CD. Now, I've seen bands recently with large box sets that have 3, maybe 4 vinyl and a shit ton of CDs. Okay. So we wanted to make sure, like, CDs are making a huge comeback, which I'm happy to see. So for the CD listeners, there's a lot of CD listeners that are vinyl collectors that don't even listen to the vinyl. So you have the best of both worlds. The cool thing about the CDs is, like, they're mini vinyls. So they're in slip cases, just like a vinyl, and the CD itself has record grooves on it and a center label. So, cool. So they're like mini LPs. So when I saw these CDRs that were like this, and I said, can you manufacture these with a high quality disc? And I found a pressing plant that could. And so that's how we were able to do this. And it's something that I haven't seen done, to be honest, by like a legit band, and I don't know why. Maybe I'm just in the dark. Maybe it has been done. I'm sure it has, but I haven't seen it, and it's something cool that we wanted to bring to this box set. So 3 LPs, 3 CDs, Original Master, 10th Anniversary Remix, and the Run for Your Life Sessions. Then we have a
So
cassette.
in addition to LPs and CDs, there's also a cassette.
Yes.
And this is another thing that I'm like super excited about. I can't wait to dig into this on the podcast.
I mean, look, we've always loved cassettes, right? But the reason that this is a cassette is that they're the demos. So we wanted to make it look like a demo tape, and we definitely did. The artwork is amazing. It's the original sketch from James Dufresne of Eugene on the cover of the Curse of the Damned album. It's the original pencil sketch. And then we have some typed out things on a typewriter there, song titles. There's 22 unreleased demos here.
22 unreleased demos. That's a lot.
Yeah, and things from
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean things from things we recorded in the jam room, things that me and Brent recorded in his bedroom demos that I did, me just singing in the bedroom, practice space, a lot of cool stuff here. So that's the demo tape. 11 songs per side. There is basically two demo versions of each song on the album. And I think that's super cool. And definitely one of the bonus things in here while listening to this tape, while you have your undivided attention on it, is reading through the liner notes. Because I made sure to put all the credits in the liner notes, when these were recorded, who was playing on them, how they were recorded, all that stuff. So it's very cool, and we will get into that on the podcast.
Well, it's cool. So, you get the history of each track and the evolution of each track from a demo, or from some of these are you guys playing in a bedroom, you and Brent, and coming up with a riff, and then you can hear it all the way through to the final track.
Absolutely.
I think that's super cool. Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah. We'll get into episodes on these songs for sure.
Yep.
Next we have, so that's it for the music content. Then we put together a home video. This is a 2-hour home video.
So this is huge. So you showed me an advanced version of this, and I watched it yesterday. Really, really cool production. I don't know who put this together, but man, it's just, from the second you hit play on it, it looks amazing. It's really cool. It's 2 hours of Curse era Night Demon.
Yeah, well,
awesome.
It took me a lot of time combing through the archives, picking this stuff out. I mean, the cool thing about it is that it goes in chronological order. There are a ton of songs here, okay? There's a lot. There's
2 full hours, yeah.
Yeah, it's every song off of the album, live, somewhere in the world. It's every song off the EP and most of the covers that we were doing back in the day. But there's everything here from our tours in Europe, our tours in the States, house parties, playing some pretty legendary venues for the first time, like the Whiskey and the Roxy, places like that. There's
cool South American stuff.
Yeah, 10 television performances. There's interview clips.
I like to, in between some of the live clips, as just home video clips, I guess I'd call them. And there's some cool ones of Brent laying down a guitar solo with Armand in the studio. You know what I mean? I've never seen stuff from that era, video of it. And it's cool to see all that stuff interspersed in between all this stuff. It's just really cool.
It's cool to get your take on that. So if anybody, again, a shout out to Metallica, anybody ever seen the video Cliff 'Em All? I kind of took the liberty of arranging it like that, even to the point of having our resident artist Brian Craybaugh do the cover art and draw us, which is funny because it's the only time you'll see the four of us in a photo really like that, besides the Judas Priest, besides the Priest gig that we did for Halloween over 10 years ago. But because in the Curse of the Damned, in the middle of the Curse of the Damned album cycle, Brent leaves the band and Armand comes in, right? So I wanted to represent both eras equally, and I think this video does a good job of it. But yeah, there's sequences in between each segment, each track, which kind of keeps you updated in chronological order, whether it's a radio interview, a podcast interview that we were on, a man on the street interview, an interview on tour, behind the scenes tour footage, stuff working on the album in the studio. Some really cool stuff in here. And so more so than a book, I think the podcast and an actual visual will take you, will tell the story very well. Originally, we wanted to do a VHS. The VHS costs literally 14 times as much as it is to do
Really?
yes,
I
to do a
suppose so, yeah.
DVD. Because you got to factor in, there's not many people doing it. They have to dub them in real time, and it adds a lot of weight to shipping. So
that's true. And your box set would be the size of the box would be.
Right. Eventually, we may do some VHS versions of something, but we decided to put it on a DVD. A good friend of ours, Sean McGuirk, who works in only analog audio and video equipment, and also his digital equipment is very primitive. He uses computer editing software from like the 80s, something you do a public access television show with. And he has done all the visual effects on this video and all the transitions. These are completely done that way. I want to say analog, but I know it's some digital technology from then, but very primitive digital technology, stuff like right, 8-bit stuff, right? So
it's very, very cool.
It looks of the era that we love, So that's the DVD. We have the original Blood Sacrifice comic book. Now, there was not many copies of this made. This is the story loosely themed of what the Curse of the Damned album was kind of supposed to be about. Screams in the Night obviously is a narrative of this issue number 1. There was only one issue. James never did finish the series, which is interesting, but you know what? You can always finish it later. So that's open-ended. Hopefully this will spark him. There's now 1,000 new copies out into the world. Okay. And I'll read you the quick, when the album came out and the comic came out, this was the log line. Inspired by the horror films of the 1980s, Blood Sacrifice is a story of a small suburban town being plagued by a series of brutal murders and 2 high school misfits who stumble upon the terrifying secret behind it all. So, 32-page comic, love letter to 80s horror. To be honest, it's a bit entertaining in the fact that when it ends, you really want to see what happens next. It is a bit of a page turner in that way. So we'll see.
It is cool that where that comic book is so intertwined with the album. You know what I mean? That I think that's good content to add if you're trying to do the definitive box set of Curse.
100%, it couldn't have been definitive without that. And I'm so grateful to James for letting us do it. He did not have the files, and he basically said, you can do it if you have the files. So I had to get the original comic scanned. Luckily, I had a copy. Okay. So that's the comic. We also have the original tour program, Curse of the Western World. This is an exact recreation, the same thing. We lost the files for this, and so this was scanned and restored. And so we have a comic book and the tour program. We will get into the tour program in a future episode as well, coming up very soon, probably the next episode or 2. We have, to wrap a bow around it, we have 3 LPs, 3 CDs, the movie on DVD, the cassette demos, the comic book, the tour program, and 4 posters: the Curse of Mexico tour, Rise of the Demon tour, Final Curse tour, and Axe Crazy Eugene, drawn by our good buddy out there in Salt Lake City, Patrick Kendall. And to top it all off, we have a digital download card. Listen, I know people like to listen to stuff digitally and have it on the go. Great. We want to have that convenience. Everything I just mentioned is on that download card, including scans, PDFs of the comic book and the tour program. But that's not all, folks.
I was going to say there's even more, yeah.
Additionally, more cool stuff that is not streaming out there, we are adding to this. You will get additional downloads of alternate mixes from the Run for Your Life sessions, extra live stuff, full live shows. I mean, I could just name some of these. Do you want to name the audio and video content?
Yeah, there's a Livin' Dangerously live in Ventura, California. That's from January 18th, 2012. So that's like hours after he wrote the song. There's Save Me Now. It's an alternate mix from the Run for Your Life sessions. There's a whole show live at the Maple Grove in Cleveland, Ohio from January 8th of 2015, which we talked about on, I think we might have played some short clips of this on the podcast, but this is the whole show. Overkill, Damage Case, live Ventura Theater, Ventura, California, a Lemmy tribute concert, January 15th, 2006. Live at Highline, Seattle, Washington, May 16th, 2016. There's a bootleg recording of that show. And a board tape from Live at DNA Lounge, San Francisco, May 31st, 2016. And then it says, all Curse of the Damned episodes from the Night Demon Heavy Metal podcast.
Yeah, so we have to get to work and record all of these to be ready. That's the audio. There's also some video content, I see.
Yeah, so we got Live at the Bombay, Ventura, California, April 26, 2015. There's a video of that. Live at Frost and Fire, October 14th, 2015.
That's Frost and Fire 1.
Frost and Fire 1. Live at Satan's Den, which May 3rd, 2016. So we did an episode about that, but this is the full video of that. And Live at the Roxy in Hollywood, July 24th, 2016. So video of that show too. Right.
So that's the content of the box. It's a whole mother load. And right now, this is where I'm going to drop the bombshell for our loyal subscribers. The subscribers, today in your email, you should see a discount code, 10% site-wide discount to order this box set, to pre-order this box set. Not only that, as these episodes go along, we are going to put this content in the subscriber section as these Curse of the Damned episodes come out about this box set. It is your choice if you want to have an early listen or viewing to any of this content in the subscriber section, or you can patiently wait until your box set arrives at your front door and you can turn the fireplace on, invite your favorite significant other over to the smooth, soothing sounds of Curse of the Damned, and go into the binge, or just binge on it over a weekend or whatever. Take your time with it, or you can have the content early. That's a gift that we want to give to you because you guys really keep us going here, and we appreciate it so much. And we're in a position now, because we've taken the reins on this release independently, to be able to do this and bring home the full story of the Curse of the Damned. There is so much, Nesbitt, that I can talk about every single one of these things. And I think we should take the time with this podcast to go into detail about all of this stuff. So, years after we're all gone, somebody can pick up this box set, or even a year from now, anybody who picks up this box set can dive into this podcast and dive into the material in this box set and get the full story, get every single detail they can about everything that's happened here, for everybody that was there and for everybody that missed out on it and has developed a connection with the band where they feel like they are a significant part of our history, and many, many of our fans are. And so I'm honored to do this, man. This is just so fucking cool. The Curse of the Damned Ultimate Edition is here. It is available for pre-order, and this is just so cool to be able to bring this into the world. But before we go, there is one final piece. There is one Eugene in the room that we must address.
Right. So this is very cool. So this was your idea, I take it, was it?
Yeah. I mean, it's not an original concept, but it's something that I've been working on for a couple years.
Yeah. You go ahead and announce it, because I know we mentioned it earlier in this episode, but I've seen mock-ups of it. I've never actually seen one in the flesh yet.
Okay. We have an action figure that is also being announced today that is available for pre-order that will be released the same day, September 5th, 2025, as the Curse of the Damned box set. It is an action figure of Eugene, the mascot on the cover of Curse of the Damned. Axe-wielding Eugene, as he is called. This is super, super cool. And speaking of super, I was approached by a designer from Super 7, the toy company, back on the very first show of the Outsider Tour. March 17th, St. Paddy's Day 2023 at the Whiskey A Go-Go. And he's just telling us how he had just discovered the band and he loves the band and that he worked for Super 7. Super 7 is the company that does the Iron Maiden action figures, the Metallica action figures, all the rock stuff. And I said, look, I'm a big toy buff, and, from the world that we come from, some Night Demon action figures would be amazing. From then on, we developed these action figures together. There are multiple, basically for every album cover, that we have designs for. It took a lot of research and development. We will get to that on the podcast, but it's here now. And he has started a new company. So this is Kyle Lodka is the name of the artist. He has started a new company. He is no longer with Super 7. Neither is Brian Liu, who is also the creator of the book Murder in the Front Row. He took Metallica's first promo picture. He was the first head of the Megadeth fan club. He's a legendary guy. They've made a film called Murder in the Front Row. I highly recommend checking that out, about the 80s Bay Area thrash scene. So he's a legendary photographer and a mover and shaker in the metal business. They've started a new company called Carve the Five, and this is the very first action figure from the company, axe-wielding Eugene. He is here. He has come to life. We've got some commercials coming out for it, like funny, like cheesy 80s style toy commercials.
Awesome.
I mean, we're just going all out on this Curse of the Damned anniversary. I haven't talked about the merch, but we don't need to talk about it on the podcast. We've got some cool shirts, some pins, some patches, all Curse of the Damned related stuff. We are going to dive heavily into this stuff this summer and into the fall. And actually, the last thing I'll announce is we have brought back Frost and Fire to Ventura, Frost and Fire 5, the return. We have not done it there since 2018. People have been begging for it. We're keeping it intimate, doing it at the Bombay. Night Demon will be headlining the first night, playing Curse of the Damned in its entirety. We also have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame coming up August 9th. Curse of the Damned in its entirety. We'll be hosting the Metal on Metal radio show on WJCU 88.7 in Cleveland, Thursday, August 8th. To preview that, we've got the Vakken show coming up with a live stream. We're going to announce all of this stuff, big stuff. CurseDamn.com. I feel like I'm doing an ad. I feel like such a salesman right now, but I'm just so excited about all of this stuff. And
there's a lot on the go, yeah.
I'm so excited to share it with everybody. CurseDamn.com. CurseDamn.com. It's the portal to everything Curse of the Damned in 2025.
Awesome. So there's a lot on the go. Big year. 10 years later after Curse of the Damned. I can't wait to get my hands on like a physical copy of this box set. It's going to be insane. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks. And listeners, get ready. We're going to dive headfirst into Curse of the Damned. We're going to get deep into all these songs. All this content on the box set all has like a story behind it. And it's kind of cool to have like the audio, you have the video, you have like, it's cool to hear a song and to hear the demos, but like the podcast can put some context around it all and the story behind it all. And I can't wait to get back into it.
Absolutely.
We'll be rolling into year number 6 of the podcast.
Absolutely. I mean, you're going to get probably 20 hours of content from the podcast alone. So, yeah. Thank you guys so much.
So that's it for this episode. Prepare yourselves for some deep dives into the Curse of the Damned album. CursedDamn.com. That's CursedAmn.com for all info related to Curse of the Damned and the anniversary. NightDemon.net for all things Night Demon. Until next time, this is Nesbitt signing off.
Thanks for listening to the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast. Head over to nightdemon.net, click on the subscriber tab, and sign up to access exclusive weekly bonus content. If you would like to donate to support the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast, you can do so through PayPal at paypal.me/nightdemonmetal. Additionally, if you have not already done so, please subscribe, like, rate, and review the show on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts.
All hail, Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast listeners. This is Dusty Squires chiming in to tell you about my brand new signature sticks from the London Drumstick Company. I've dreamt of having my very own drumsticks ever since I was a wee lad, and LDC made that a possibility for me. Founded in 2016 in London, England, the birthplace of heavy metal, the London Drumstick Company has trailblazed a path through the music industry and taken the drummer world by storm. When I met them for the first time, they knew their product was going to withstand the beatings of a Night Demon show. They took the time to work with me on getting everything just right. The balance and weight of my sticks are the same no matter what, and the durability is bar none the best I've ever had. I know my sticks will last through the set night after night. I'm truly honored to work with a company that caters to their players the way LDC does. Their innovation and attention to detail is what separates them from the rest of the stick makers out there. Their custom stick sleeves are unbelievable and really make the entire presentation complete. Wait until you see the design they came up with for me. It blew my mind and was a surprise to say the least. They have all kinds of amazing swag, including hoodies, t-shirts, drummer shorts, drum keys, stick bags, towels, face masks, practice pads, and much, much more. Even if you're not a drummer, you can be a part of Demon history and order my brand new signature sticks direct from their website. How cool is that? And to top it off, the London Drumstick Company are giving an exclusive offer to the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast listeners. Go to londondrumsticks.co.uk and receive a 15% store-wide discount using promo code DEMONSTICKS. All capital letters, no spaces, Demon Sticks. DEMONSTICKS. I can't thank everyone there enough for the opportunity to be a part of their family and for them trusting me with their amazing products. See you metal maniacs on the road very soon. And yes, the wood chips will be flying.
Greetings, boils and ghouls. This is your comrade, the Crypt Keeper here, reporting dead from the sanctuary of the strange. Tonight's macabre myth is a fright-filled feature, one overflowing with monsters, madness, and magic.
Visit our website at monstersmadnessandmagic.com to stay up to date on all the dark dealings within the sanctuary of the strange. Enjoy the show.
Hey Metalheads, I'm Mark and I host the Metal Forge. Let me tell you about the show. The Metal Forge features the best underground metal from all over the world. We spend every week with a different artist with interviews, in-depth conversations, and most of all, the music. We also feature audience interactivity where you can submit your questions to the upcoming guests. New episodes are out every Friday at noon Eastern Time at metalforgeradio.com or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Want to know what's going on in the world of music? Then tune in to the Nothing Shocking Podcast, a non-genre based, all-ages friendly rock and roll program. Join us weekly for interviews with all your favorite rock stars from the mainstream to the underground. You can find us at nothingshocking.libsyn.com or anywhere you download podcasts.
Okay, metalheads, you've been complaining that there has not been a channel that plays all of the heavy metal videos from past, present, and future for years and years at this point. Well, that time is over. Heavy Metal Television is back. HeavyMetalTelevision.net is the website. Go there. You can see videos playing 24/7, 365, all the time, all the best from the old school, the new school, and everything in between. Check it out, HeavyMetalTelevision.net. It is where the metal is.